Virgo, welcome into your reading, or should I say welcome back? I had to record this. This is the second time, and I'm just going to warn you now. We're going to get interrupted, darling. I can feel it. I can feel it. So I just want to let you know, expect interruptions. Something's going on with your energy. There's a big change. Okay, Virgo, I lost your whole reading. Something with my audio, my mic didn't work. It was a terrific reading, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I remember from it. I channel during my readings, and so oftentimes I don't remember every single detail, but I will tell you the story that I remember, and it starts off with the bow. This is your energy as I sat with it coming in. Right now, this is a message from Spirit to you, Virgo, letting you know that you are divinely protected and guided in this moment, and that you are completing a very significant chapter of growth right now. Last reading was all about a Virgo who had gone through a very difficult period of time, had been doing a lot of inner work, and a lot of that work was also in the 3D. There was a reorientation. And so what kept coming up throughout the reading was this message from Spirit for you to drop into your heart, to pour into your vessel, to give yourself space physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to basically recharge yourself. This is the first Virgo new moon of 2, and it's going to be working the full spectrum of the Virgo placement. So this first new moon is at 0 degrees 22 minutes of Virgo, the very beginning initiation point of the sign of Virgo. And the second new moon, which will then be a partial solar eclipse, is going to be at those anaretic degrees. I don't have the exact degree, but I think it's the 29 degrees of Virgo. So we're right there. We're basically covering the entire territory. So look to see where Virgo is in your chart, whether you are a Virgo sun, a Virgo moon, or rising. That house, that area of life is really getting prepared to be worked over significantly for you. And it's going to be opposing the sign of Pisces with a total lunar eclipse on September 7th. So this lunation right here that's going to be happening tomorrow, we're in the orb of it. This lunation is taking us right into those energies. And this bow is about you pointing, getting clarity on, and basically the advice was to detox. So there was even advice about doing a physical detox, if that calls to you, eating high vibrational foods, whole foods diet, really pouring into the concept of yourself as a vessel, purifying your vessel in all ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, allowing it to let go, going to yoga nidra, doing energy work, doing breath work, releasing that stored tension and trauma of the past, because there was the experience of you overcoming the 10 of Swords. And some of those swords were placed there by yourself inadvertently. They were not done on purpose, but it was an unconscious aspect of your soul's progression. And so the reading was about a Virgo, a collective of Virgos going through a spiritual awakening, ascending their level of consciousness so that they could step into what is truly meant for them, their true alignment with their purpose, their passion, what they want to build, grow, and create. And the other card that came out from Spirit was the feather. Virgo, the feather is about you being guided by signs, by synchronicities, that you are going to receive specific signs and clues from Spirit as you are pursuing this new path of growth. It's going to help you to really follow your true north, because this is a story about a Virgo who is coming into their own and basically removing everything that is not true for you in order to step into your divine truth. So we're going to go into this again, darling, and we're going to see what else Spirit wants to say. You're just getting a double message, I suppose. But now what Spirit's talking about is you finding this new directionality following deep disappointment, this sense of discontentment. And what I felt it as in the other reading was discontentment with your heart space of not feeling fulfilled and chasing after things that once you thought were going to bring you this happiness, this fulfillment. They were your goals. They were what you thought was your true north. And it's sort of like the Virgo who achieved some of those things and it didn't actually fulfill you in the way that you thought it would, or it didn't turn out to be what you thought. We've got a time for healing. So we're still in this time for healing. And the reason for that, darling, is that you are getting ready to be propelled forward into something big. And as I say that, look at the bigger picture. Full moon in Sagittarius energy. So the bigger picture is that there's a spiritual awakening taking place. You're being reconnected with this intimate aspect of your soul. And what it unfortunately does require is when we step into that elevated spiritual awakening, we're going through that healing process. What it requires is a deep clearing out of everything that's not in alignment for you. And sometimes if you're going through an incredibly potent spiritual activation, that can mean several things will start to leave your life. You could shift relationships, you could shift friendships, you could shift your job, the place that you are currently living. It could be even family. Suddenly you're seeing family in a new light. There's all sorts of places that this can take you. But the hardest place that you will travel is within. The hardest place to journey through that is to be honest with our own self about the beliefs, the habits, the unconscious restrictions or ways in which we might have sabotaged ourselves, sabotaged our own fulfillment. And we have to come to terms with that. And it is about this decision, something that's presenting itself as two choices, two directions, two pathways of potentiality. And I think what's happening with this bow is that Spirit's guiding you to get really clear. Look at the bigger picture. What do you really desire? If you're honest, truly honest with yourself, Virgo, maybe even doing some journaling work or doing a meditation about what would happen if you had a magic button, if you had the ability to make any and all of your dreams come true, no holds barred, no restrictions, that it was a magic button. What would that vision look like to you, and why? Why do you want what you want? If it's coming from this place of deeper soul fulfillment that is in alignment with your true north, Spirit is saying it's time for you to get really clear, align to that vibrationally, clear your vessel, prepare your body, prepare your own energy to elevate into the embodiment of that manifestation. Because you're at this time period between these eclipses, some people will call it an eclipse portal. And the portal aspect really is just speaking about this period of time where it's almost like we have the ability, if we harness it within ourself, within our intention, it's almost like we have that ability to jump a timeline for ourselves, to propel ourselves into this new version. And Spirit's already saying that's exactly where you're at naturally. You're on deck to be entering into a brand new chapter. And it's based on what's truly in alignment with you. So it's time for you to look at that big picture and decide, what is that for you? What is it now in the short term? What is it in the long term? What do you wish to have for yourself in this life? What are you seeking to create? And then how can you become that and align into that right now? And that, I feel, is really what's being asked. And Spirit's saying, you're receiving the signs. The feather is a guide. The feather is a symbol of luck as well. It's saying you're being benevolently guided into this direction, to feel confirmation, to feel confidence that this is the next right step to take. We also have a new romantic cycle begins. New moon in Libra. So new moon in Libra will be just after this eclipse cycle. There'll be another full moon. It will be in Aries, and then we'll have the new moon in Libra. So this will take place in early October. That could be a time marker for you, Virgo. And a new romantic cycle can point, of course, to the obvious, romance. But I feel like what's happening here is there is a heart healing and something that's going to basically light up your own life is part of this new direction, part of this new version of self. And so this could be a passion project. It could be, pouring into yourself, finding new aligned friends or relationships. But this very well could be that as you do this work, as you step into this embodiment, that you are then going to be placed into the position to meet this person. And there's definitely something here, whether it's a person or a new project or a new chapter, just the new chapter of your life. You're stepping into this wanting to come from a place of an open and healed heart. Someone who wants to grow for the long term. Someone with emotional intelligence, someone with the wisdom to step into their higher purpose and know their calling. And just as I say that, so regardless of gender here, Virgo, we've got the warrior woman card coming out, which is really about a healing to the divine feminine. So again, regardless of gender, we all carry divine masculine and feminine aspects of self, but we're healing something within the space of a wounded divine feminine, and we're bringing that into balance so that this warrior woman aspect of you, that intuitively powerful manifesting creator, is basically stepping into their power. This is about spirit guiding you to answer your deepest calling. Do you feel that you've got a purpose that you haven't been pursuing, Virgo? This is a guide to encourage you in that direction. Have you answered that call within your heart? That's part of this embodiment that you're stepping into, having the courage with the King of Cups energy. King of Cups and Warrior Woman are working together. And this reminds me a lot, in your other reading, we had a lot of cards about going through the spiritual awakening. And what often is true is that during that process, we're balancing any of the unhealed aspects of both our divine masculine and our divine feminine, again, regardless of gender. And this again has to do with our belief systems, how we approach relationships, how we approach love. Are we willing to trust ourselves? Are we willing to trust our intuition, to be intuitively led? And there was definitely a lot about getting out of your mind, not overthinking. There was this element of not being able to think your way through the healing process, that you had to feel your way through it. Feel it within the body, feel it within the mind, feel it within the heart. And I think that might have been why Spirit was really guiding you to take that incubation time, to allow yourself to pour in, to sort of charge your power, your battery, if you will, because you're getting ready to, you're kind of like pulling back. And look, interesting that we've got an arrow here and the arrow here, right? So what you're doing is you're figuring out what that big picture is as you're charging your energy, and then you're pulling back your own navigation system, your own energy, which is this arrow, pointing it into the direction that you want to go. It's completely protected, a fortuitous path, because we've got Jupiter here expanding with the Sagittarius full moon. And then we've also got all of this spiritual protection in this card, protecting your path. This is the new chapter that you're headed into, Virgo, right? So before you shoot that arrow, this is you being ready to basically know with clarity where you are aiming that arrow. And it definitely has to do with stepping into this higher calling, this energetic awakening, alignment. And the Ten of Swords energy from the last reading was also talking about the ways in which you betrayed your own self by sort of talking yourself into what you thought would be a fulfilling life versus what actually felt fulfilling to you. So there was a lot of chasing after these superficial goals that really didn't have the true meaning that you actually deeply desired to have, to feel. And so there's been this need to break the chain. There's been an ancestral pattern, family patterns, family healing that's been required that you address, because what has been part of those 10 swords is the recognition of what we carry forward, how we've been influenced by what our parents want for us, our grandparents, their version of what a good life was, and how we think that we need to live up to whatever that definition is, versus allowing ourselves to truly find what that is for ourselves. And so a lot of times we can live our life for years, Virgo, following what we think is the quote unquote right path. the expected path that we should follow in life. So this is very deeply about a reorientation to your sense of self, very much your sense of self. And what are you willing at the end of the day, in the big picture? Are you really willing, even though we love, our family, we hold great loyalty and respect, are you really willing to allow them to define what is fulfilling to you, your goals, your dreams, what makes you truly happy at the end of the day? Or is it just about looking good on paper? Is it just about following some prescribed role that they have envisioned, for you to follow? So it's something to ponder, something to think about here, that I believe Spirit's really guiding you to think about that, Virgo, because this is about your own sense of inner dissatisfaction, disappointment, things not going the way that you hoped, not being satisfied with the options also. And it can lead to this state of stagnancy, almost to the state of, well, why even bother? It's not going to, change. And Spirit's saying that's not true. You have a choice. You have the choice. But you have to choose it, darling. And it doesn't mean it's an easy choice. Doesn't mean it's easy to say, especially if it's breaking family and ancestral karma, that does often require the confrontation of that karma in some degree. You've got to craft new boundaries. You've got to say what it is that you want and allow the chips to fall where they may, But that can be really hard, really difficult to move through. Spirit's really urging you to answer the call. What is your soul nudging you to do? Because look at all this just beautiful, magical abundance. This is the energy. You should have seen the energy. I really, really wish that reading, that the audio didn't get screwed up. The energy in the cards painted a picture. And it was so etheric. It was so healing and magical, full of compassion, full of this love and this promise and this beauty that you wanted to bring forth for yourself. It was like that was your soul's desire. And I saw it on full display, Virgo. It was gorgeous. And for whoever I'm reading for, darling, it would appear that you might be holding your own self back. That's available to you, and you have a chance right now during this period of time. Energetically, the universe is supporting you to reorient that for yourself, but you must choose it. And so this is why most likely Spirit was guiding you to go on a cleanse, drink more water, take energy baths, take salt baths, do yoga, do energy healing. Do whatever you can do. Get out in nature, dance, connect with fun, connect with play. That was your medicine, to play more, to not take things so seriously. Because you need to connect with the frequency of joy to remember it's possible. You need to connect with getting lost once in a while in something just for the sake of the pleasure of it, to remember how inspired you feel when you're in that space and what truly is possible, that you can dream something new and be. So this is the end of Virgo holding themselves back, and the beginning of Virgo courageously taking a step into the unknown, but to pursue the magic and the potential of your own heart space, your dreams, your passions, what you feel your soul calling you to do. So I hope you've got something beautifully. Whoa, Virgo, sorry. I absolutely choked on my own spit. Sorry about that, darling. I hope that you got something nourishing out of this reading. And if you did, I hope you'll hit that like button. I am running a contest for a free reading. Those who comment below what subject you'd like to hear me do a reading on next, that enters you in to win. So any comment on any video in August will enter you in for a free reading. And if you'd like a more personalized reading, I will drop that info below. Otherwise, take such good care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.